That's where Ra comes from.
Hello, everybody. It's Laura Eisenhower. I am joined today by a very good friend, Raffaele-Antonio Ra Castaldo. And he is born intuitive, and he's a lifelong martial artist and songwriter and all around Renaissance man. I'm going to read your full bio, but I first want to thank you so much for joining me today.
No problem. It's my
So I hope I
pleasure. Can
said
you
your
hear me
name
well?
okay.
No, you know the Italian way for some reason I never liked it as a kid, so I never went by it. It's Raffaele. They it's like weird in Italy. They have that Raffaele, that A at the but it's with an E, but it's pronounced Raffaele.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah. But I never liked it as a kid because when I was a kid, they used to say it sounded girly,
Oh,
Raffaele. So I
wow.
was like, nah, whatever. Because they're like, why isn't it Raphael? Well, because in Italy they say Raffaele. I don't know.
Uh,
You know? So
I love
I
Well,
never
we call
really.
you Ra, right? A lot.
Yeah, that's just like an acronym. It's an acronym.
Nice. Well, Ra is considered an expert in mythology and has over 10 years in plasma physics and connecting the two worlds. He comes from a long line of blacksmiths and mystics from Italy and also creates his own copper and gemstone spiral energy devices. You can find him and all his products at the mysticalspiralstore.com. And I actually have a lot of your pieces and I've been making necklaces. They're incredible. And I keep seeing your posts on Substack and I'm just like, wow. So this is great. I'm so happy to have you. I've wanted to interview you for quite some time. And I just kind of want to dive into some things you have talked about that have to do
Yeah.
with NDEs, near death experiences. You had a near death experience at age 9 that seemed very pivotal. How did it fundamentally change the way you perceive reality and energy?
Wow, that's a very good question. So I would say that experience has been the catalyst for all my work that I've been doing since 1987 when the near death experience happened. It like jump started my and every day I have like even to this day I have like blinking recollections, flashes that from the moment, and it's something that I can never forget, and it sort of jump started my work, and not only that, but I was a different kid afterwards. For a while, I didn't understand why I was back here. I was actually pissed off, and I'll tell you why in a minute because I felt like when I came back from that experience that I didn't choose to come back. I sort of just was back, and now all of a sudden I was in pain, and I had to deal with the operation that because I had to have an operation to save my life. And it was like I came back and I didn't understand what I just went through. And everybody told me that it was, I was being operated on. So it was kind of my imagination. It happened like like I dreamt it, sort of. And I was pissed because now I was in pain and I didn't understand it. But as I got over that as a child and I went into my teens and things like that, it was like the jump. I was a different kid. After that experience, I talked to people differently. I was able to talk to girls differently, adults differently. I had different abilities, like musical abilities that I didn't have before. I was more hypersensitive to sounds and vibrations and light and different things, and it took me a lot of years to actually adjust to it.
Wow.
You know,
Gosh.
it took me a lot of years to figure it out.
Gosh, 9 at age 9.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. It was 1987 when it happened, and at that time I was a very hyperactive kid. You know, I was actually born. It was a very interesting birth that I have. I don't know if you ever had heard of a call birth.
You actually told me quite a bit about it, so share with us.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that was the first stage, and when my near-death experience is sort of like enhanced what I already was born with. So my mom, her water never broke when I was born. Like she went to the doctor for an appointment because something wasn't feeling right. And on that day, I was born like the regular came out the birth canal, but her water never broke. It was I came out still in the amniotic sac. They call it an in-call birth with nuchal cord because I was still enveloped in the pod and I had the umbilical cord wrapped around my neck. Some people are born just with the caul on their head and face, sort of born behind the veil, right? But I was born completely enveloped in the whole in the whole amni sac with the water inside and everything. I think in like 1 in 100,000 babies are born this way. And you know, and the umbilical cord. So it was called an in-call birth with nuchal cord birth. And that was in July of 1978 and when I was born. And so most people that are born this way, they experience a hypersensitivity to a lot of things and like deep dreams, lucid dreams, a hypersensitivity to different sounds, vibrations, light. And that's how it was when I was a kid. And I really didn't understand it. And I was smart enough as a kid, I was questioning whether I had neurological issues at first because like yeah, I come from a very traditional Italian family. So like as a kid when I was young and my mom was like, "Hey, it's 9 o'clock, you gotta go to sleep." You didn't question, you got in your room. And I'd be running around, jumping around in my little karate outfit and all spiritually, energetically charged up. And my mom would be like, go to your room. So I'd be have to close the room in the dark with the lights out, laying on my bed trying to fall asleep. And that was my first experience of auditory things. Would sometimes I would hear my name, I would hear phrases, I would see faces come at me sometimes in the dark, and it was freaking frightening.
Jeez.
I didn't understand it at all, and I didn't understand that I come from my family. They're it's sort of a combination between mysticism and Roman Catholicism. They're called strega, some of them in Italy. They're sort of mystics and blacksmiths combined. And my family are known as the Tanaara in southern Italy. And these are the ones that sort of pass down oral tradition, stellar mysteries, some of the mythology mysteries through what we call veyas. They're like campfire gatherings. All the cousins would come in on solstices and equinoxes, and they sort of pass down traditions and oral tradition stories. And a lot of these stories have secrets of the nature and the universe that most people don't understand unless they were an adept, you know. And it kind and the sort of the true meaning of these stories gets lost over the years. And certain people are born throughout different generations on these bloodlines who reawaken this knowledge. And usually the people that are born this way are born inside the call. And back in the day, people that were born in the call, midwives would give shaman the heads up of babies being born this way, and babies were raised as seers, right? Nowadays, it's taken me decades to uncover this. Nowadays, doctors are on the payroll and they give covert agencies like all sorts of different agencies. It's like, so when a baby's born, babies are given a code at birth. It has your blood type, it has certain characteristics of your birth, all this. And this information is sold out from the hospitals, from doctors, and it's sold out to different covert agencies. And they look for babies born specific ways, like babies that are born in the call. And this code is, I believe, used as like a sigil. And it's used as star magic, and certain covert agencies and groups use it, and they coerce the baby's life, the kid's life, a certain way by doing rituals on equinox and solstice dates, using like literally the ancient four royal stars of the Persian magic and things like that. You know, like the different you have Aldebaran, is the vernal equinox, Regulus is the summer equinox, um, Antares is the autumn, and Fomalhaut is the winter. And those four stars are the four royal stars, and they open up the ritual circle. And so there's a lot of groups that will use these sigils on certain times of the year, and it's like a coercing the child's life. And I realized this was happening to me throughout my life as a teenager and in my early 20s. I literally had to take my power back. I realized I was being guided in certain ways to have certain experiences and go certain places in my life and do certain things. And I realized that it was a lot more to it, you know. So yeah, it's incredible. It might sound crazy, but not to you.
No, it doesn't sound
Yeah,
crazy, but it's
yeah.
crazy. I mean,
It's
my God.
crazy, but someone like you would understand that something like that is real.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. My gosh. So growing up, what was it like? I mean, when you started to work with crystals and stones and the copper wrapping, I mean, how did that all evolve?
Yeah, I think as I've always liked crystals and copper and different things like that. My mother always liked crystals when I was a kid too. But as I got older and I started to realize certain things that I went through, we could discuss some of the experiences I've gone through as well. Um, I needed a way to draw a line in the sand around my aura and my mind, body, and soul, where to keep me away from the fog that everybody's in, and sort of we're in a war, if in many ways, a frequency war, all sorts of unseen energies that are affecting our aura and our energetic body and our physical body, all right, at all times. So using certain crystals, gemstones, and copper the way so I make them into energy devices. I don't make them all like these complicated, like some people, like when they do copper wrapping, they're doing it more for the art of it. There's like mine, I'm doing it for science. I'm wrapping a specific coil around piezoelectric material to open up the light of the stone, right? And so when you have a piezoelectric material like quartz and you wrap or squeeze it with a coil, right? So piezoelectricity means that when it's rubbed, squeezed, or compressed, it generates an electric current, right? So quartz, if I shut the lights out right now, take two pieces of quartz here, I can do it for you if you want, and rub them together, you'll see sparks. You'll see a light up, right? Quartz is piezoelectric. So what that means is when that electric current gets generated, I'm wrapping the copper coil around the quartz to infinitely squeeze it to open up the light of the stone. And once that electric current is generated, you could put thoughts in it, you could put frequencies in it, and you can amplify your thoughts, and you open up literally the inner light of the stone. And that's so it's to not and also copper. The way I use twisted copper. So one these things are different. Copper is twisted here. See how it's twisted around itself. It's not just a regular piece of copper. So when you twist copper clockwise, Slim Sperling started this in the 90s, and I sort of took it my own way too. So when a normal piece of copper has a positive and negative charge, when you twist it clockwise, it's like twisting a dirty rag, wringing out a dirty rag, all the old electrons you're getting rid of by the twist. And when you do that twist, it's like an explosion of new electrons, fresh electrons, right? And then that twist makes an explosion of new electrons, and then you make it into a ring or a coil, so you have a continuous infinite explosion of fresh electrons, which helps heal bones quicker, cuts quicker, tummy aches quicker. If you have a ring like this, you put it over your belly, it'll help it, and you could put this over water bottles to restructure the water and all of that. So I started wrapping them around gemstones, and a lot of people, they might be able to sense energy, but I tend to be able to see and feel energy sometimes, right? So I started to realize when I wrapped these copper coils around the quartz, it opened up the light right at coming out, and I could feel the light and see the light coming out of the ring sometimes, and it's really powerful. It's not just something that looks cool, because they look cool too, but it's powerful for your mind, body, and your soul. And people need this nowadays to keep you out of the fog. You need some kind of device. If you're in battle, every day we're in battle in this we're getting bombarded by Wi-Fi and all this different things. We need some kind of tool to help us in battle. And that's why started making these things, because when I started to look for alternative ways to heal myself, and about 20, 30 years ago, and just regular crystals weren't enough, I started to mess with the copper coils around crystals, and I took it a step further.
Oh my gosh. Gosh, it's just incredible just looking at your website and going through all the different
Yeah,
stuff.
I have some new stuff for you. Yeah, yeah. So like, I'll send you a new package too. And like, I started like you have the red jasper.
Hmm.
Um, you had the one of yours that you had gotten was a red jasper sphere, a gem of it. I don't know if you still have it, but this is a red jasper with the royal cubit
Yeah, yeah, I
twisted
love
around
that.
it.
I actually made it
Yeah.
for my son's girlfriend.
So I'm gonna send this one for you.
Oh, sweet. Because I'm like,
The red
I'm glad
jasper
I gifted
sphere
it, but
with
I
the
love
royal
it.
cubit twist around it. Yeah. And I
Nice.
even got the triskelion I've been making too now.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Very
But yeah,
cool.
so I started when I say that like I had to take my power back, Laura, I mean it, because certain things that I went through after my near-death experience when I was 9, uh like I said, I don't know if you can call it a walk-in, but I was a different person afterwards. I don't know if that's possible, or if I believe that's possible, but I still had the same memories. I was the same kid, but I changed. It changed who I was. I looked at the world different. I talked to people different. I was smoother with girls and adults and things like that, as a young kid. And yeah, like like before that I was very shy with teachers, and then all of a sudden I was like mingling with teachers
Like a
and
wise elder in a young body.
yeah, it was very different. And I started playing music, and I noticed, and then as a teenager, um I didn't really understand some of the things that I was experiencing, and I ran away, and I started uh I ran away from a lot of things. And I started like hanging out with my friends a lot, and playing in bands and stuff like that. And I would come home with like my hair dyed green, and my dad's like, "I'm not working all day and looking at you at the dinner table with green hair, like, so you can't. It's either you listen to me or be out." So at 14 years old, I left. I ended up in a group home and things like that for some years. Yeah. I still graduated high school and stuff like that, but I got into a lot of trouble as a teenager. I ended up as an adolescent in Rikers Island here in New York for a little while. Yeah. And you're
God.
on mute, by the way. Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
No, I don't want
Yeah.
to. Yeah.
Okay,
I'm just
and
wowing
yeah,
and listening,
so
John.
yeah, I went through a lot as a kid. And then after I graduated high school, I was traveling with a band for a little while. I was going to a community college and traveling with a band, and we were going up and down the East Coast, and one of my bandmates died of a heroin overdose, and there was a lot of stuff going on. I was going to there's a club in New York City at the time called the Limelight. It was an old church, a very famous club, and it was an old Gothic cathedral that they made into a club. And they would have all these bands playing there, techno nights, different nights. And my high school girlfriend was the coat check at this club. She was coat checking at this club, so I was like there every night. My family would like pull me out of there by my ear, and I was too young to even be in there, even at the time. And I would, so there was a lot of stuff. And so when I was like and right before the World Trade Center happened, like in 2001, 3 days before the World Trade Center, September 8th, I decided to tell my mom I was going to 7-Eleven, and instead I got on a bus just with the clothes I was wearing and left the Port Authority in New York and went all the way out to Long Beach, California, just with my acoustic guitar and and the clothes I was wearing. And I ended up staying out there for 3 years, playing music on the street, busking, they call it. And I lived like that into my early 20s. I did that until I straightened my life out. And I
Wow.
was having like all spiritual experiences out there, and I had like a military abduction experience while I was out there.
Do you want to talk about
So
that?
yeah, I'll share what I can, what I know I can prove, what I remember, because it's really a weird experience. So, like I said, I don't know what led me to all of a sudden go out to California. I knew nobody out there, nobody. I literally told I was there was I was getting involved in the wrong crowd. There was a lot of stuff going on, and I felt like I was gonna go down the same route as some of my friends that had just recently passed away from drug overdoses, all the stuff that was going on in the music scene that I was in. So I was like, you know what? I can't. Something just all of a sudden came over me one day, and I just had my guitar on my back. I'm like, I'm just gonna go explore and it's like I don't know what led me out there, but it was spiritual, some kind of spiritual, because what I went out there, most people, when I tell them the story, I don't know if they believe me or what, but they can tell that I went through something. So when I went out there, I started basically just playing music on the street until I got my own apartment out there. I was like sleeping in the park at first, out there. And I had no money. When I got out there off the bus, I had like $50 in my pocket. No, knew nobody. And this was 3 days, mind you, before the World Trade Center happened. On September 8th, 2001, I graduated high school in 1996. So this was like, 4 years after I graduated high school, something like that. Right? What was that? Nice. Yeah, like 4 or 5 years after I graduated high school. So I had gone to college a little bit. I was traveling with a band a little bit. And then, like I said, I was not really going nowhere. I was working like bullshit jobs and playing in bands, and I just needed a change. So something just came over me. And when I was out there, I started playing music in the area. And so when I went out to Long Beach, it was on from Port Authority, New York City. I went to Long Beach, like 16th Avenue in Long Beach where the bus was. So I stayed kind of in that area in downtown Long Beach, which is like it's ghetto there. right? And I mean, where Ocean Boulevard is on Long Beach, it's pretty nice, right? Because it's right on the ocean, but the rest of it's all pretty much ghetto right there. So I was in a pretty hard neighborhood, but I come from New York and I grew up like on the streets of the Bronx and stuff. So it was, it wasn't really hard for me, but I didn't know nobody there. It's a lot different when you grow up in an area and you know everyone there. When I went out in California, I didn't know how it worked. And Long Beach was a weird community where there's like gangs and a lot of gay people, and then they mix to, and on the street where I was first experienced, they were mixing together the gay people and the gang activity and doing like crystal meth together in the park and like weird, just weird shit going on, right? And I started having like, I went through a spiritual awakening at the first couple of days I was out there. No more drugs, no more partying, no more. I was like, I gotta feed myself and change my life. And I started like helping people on the street with my music and started talking to people, different things. And then I started like this, there was a place called No Regrets down there, a store called No Regrets that I was playing my music in front of that store and I kind of worked for the store a little bit and they let me play in front of their store. And then after me being out there for like a couple of months, almost a year, I had 3 days in a row where I had these spiritual experiences. On the third day, the police were looking for me. And when they picked me up, they handed me over. They first beat me up and threw me in the cell. And then when I woke up, I was being loaded on the docks of Long Beach Harbor going out to Island. So let me first explain to you real quick those 3 days and real quick. Because the first night, like I said, I used to play on the streets, but I never would play at night. And so there was the first night where it all started. It was like after midnight, almost 1 in the morning. I was walking back to where I was staying at this apartment with three other people I knew. And I was walking through the alleyways, and all of a sudden I walked through this alleyway, and I was like going through something. Like I wanted to go back home. I was feeling sad. I was just like going through stuff. And I remember walking through the alleyway, and I literally walked through my dead grandmother's perfume, her smell. I mean, I walked, Laura, I was it like wrapped around me like a garment. It was inside my hair, my clothes, and I was like, Nani? Like my grandmother's name. Like I was like, Nani? Like I said, like it was like I walked into it. Like goosebumps just saying it right now, right? And then I found this weird book that was right there at the time, and I opened it up. It was like, there is no death. The first line I looked, I was like crazy shit, right? So that I went home that night, and the very next night, almost about the same time, I'm walking through the same alleyway because I used to come home from that store, no regrets, and cut through the alleyways. So that very next night, I'm walking through the alleyway and I have this song in my head that I want to play and I want to write. So I go down to the park. And now, remind you, I didn't know this at the time until I started doing research. Long Beach, where I was living, is on the 33rd parallel. It runs right through the park that I was playing in. And like if you follow the 33rd parallel, it goes all the way back to Mount Hermon in Lebanon, where the Watchers came down in the Book of Enoch. Right? So you have 33rd parallel from and it goes right through Long Beach, California, right through First and Golden Avenue on the park that I was always at, the Cesar Chavez Park, it was called. Right? That's on First and Golden, goes right through there. And I didn't know that at the time. And that whole park is set up in the Fibonacci sequence. There's all these spirals going on. And it's called the Cesar Chavez Park. It's on First and Golden. I was living on Fifth and Cedar at the time, which is like 4 streets down. So I used to go to that park where homeless people would sleep in there. You could just do whatever you want in that park. Literally, it's at the end of Long Beach. Cops don't go there really. They drive by, but like as long as there's not like it's literally just like, and it's always summer. I'm used to like in New York weather where it's there's different stuff going on. This time it's just people always out all year round, right? So I go to the park to go play music the next night at like 1 in the morning to go write a song. And before I say what happened, I gotta mention because he's part of the story. There was always this homeless guy that I used to see in front of Burger King, all scraggly looking, and he would stand with a cart, and I would ask him, "Hey, you want something to eat or something?" Sometimes he'd be like, "Rah." I never heard him speak a word. He would growl at me. So that night after my grandmother's perfume, I'm writing a song in the park, and I always played for and got paid on the street making money, so it wasn't weird for someone to be standing in front of me, but I never played this late at night. It's weird at this time of night. So all of a sudden I'm leaning with my back against the wall, sitting on the floor with my back against the wall, sort of like with my legs folded in front of me, with the guitar on my lap, sort of like you do when you're like in yoga pose, kind of. I'm sitting with my guitar in my lap, leaning with my back against the wall, and I had my kind of my eyes down and closed a little bit, and I was playing and singing, and all of a sudden I smelt a cigar, and so I open my eyes and I see that there's somebody standing in front of me with dress shoes on and dress pants. And he was so close to me, like only like a foot or two, that I would have to arch my head back to actually see who it was. So all I saw was his dress pants and his dress shoes at first, and I thought it was some guy that was out at night who was about to pay me. He was out at dinner or something, right? So just when he starts to speak, I look up to see who it is. And when he starts to speak and he's speaking really smooth and like really intelligent, and I look up and I see it's that homeless guy from in front of Burger King. But now he's got his beard all trimmed neat. He's got his hair back, same beautiful blue eyes that he had, and but he's dressed nice in a nice suit. And he's telling me, "Listen, kid, I've seen you around, Laura. Check this shit out." And this is crazy. He's like, "Listen, kid, I've seen you around, and I seen you know how to handle you. Because I got fights in the people tried to rob me. I've gotten in fights in the park, and he's always in front of Burger King, in front of that park, right? He's like, I've seen you around, kid, and I see you can handle yourself, and you know how to play that thing really well. I came into money, and I'm gonna open a club. I want you to come play for me, and you basically have anything you've ever want. All you got to do is say yes, right?" And I don't know if it was my Nani's energy that came into me that was protecting me in this moment because at my life at that point, two things would have happened. I would have been like, "What the hell's wrong with you?" and chased the guy away, or I've been like, "Well, where do I sign? Like, I need it, right? I need so." But that didn't happen. Something came over me, and at that time I was even more limber because I've been martial arts and wrestling my whole life. So you know how like if I'm playing guitar, sitting with my guitar folded on me, most people would have to like put their hands on the ground to brace themselves to get up. Well, I could just pop up like a cat from sitting in, right? I don't know what came over me because I didn't think about doing this. I popped up like a cat right in his face, holding my guitar, and I was staring at him face to face. I said, "Sir, thank you, but no thank you." And I sat back down and I just started playing, right? And I looked back up, and Laura, his eyes were like a red storm. Like I saw like it was like almost unnaturally red. Like it was like evil anger, shaking evil serpent fiery red eyes, like shaking red evil eyes. And I closed my eyes and I just started like playing and I was like kind of praying the way I was playing, right? And I looked back up and he was gone, right? So now fast forward like 3 or 4 days and I'm on the bus and I pass Burger King. I see this fucking guy in front of Burger King. So I get off the bus. I'm like, "Listen, you mother effer, what the hell was wrong with you the other night?" And he's like "Rrr," growling at me like he doesn't know what I'm talking about. So I walk away and then I come back and I'm like, "It was you. Look it." Like I'm trying to think, was it this guy or somebody that looked like him? So I go, "No, look, it was you. Look at your face. Your face is all still, his beard is all trimmed and nice and neat still." Right? And he's feeling his beard in freaking confusion, like looking at me, like feeling his face, like he didn't know his beard was trimmed. And I was like, "Oh, F you," and I walked away. So the very next day after that, I had another experience. I don't know if you want me to get into it, but that's what led to cops coming and picking me up. Another experience the next night, which is like really incredible. The next day after that, I woke up in the morning, like at sunrise, and something came over me. Like, I don't know. I wasn't on drugs. I'm not a drinker. I like sometimes I have some wine, but like I used to smoke a lot of weed. Sometimes I still smoke weed now, but I stopped for a long time, right? And at this time, I wasn't on no drugs. I had taken a lot of acid and mushrooms in my life and different stuff, but like I was clean out on Long Beach on the streets. There was nothing that was influencing me. I woke up and I had like some sort of Kundalini fucking spiritual awakening the next morning. I woke up and Laura, I don't know what came over me. I started walking down the street towards that park. It's 4 streets away. And I was taking off my clothes, looking at the sunrise. And my eyes were rolling back in my head. And I was stripping off all my clothes, being like, "I don't deserve these clothes. I don't deserve." And I'm walking towards the park, right? So I'm walking towards the park. I'm stripping everything off. And I walk into the park and I'm walking around in circles, that the Fibonacci thing in the spiral thing in the park. And I start walking in front of the circle. And then as I'm walking around it a few times, I look in front of me. And like on a hot summer day, how you can see almost like a shimmering mirage in the air. It's like a see-through sort of shimmering wave in the heat. that was in front of me and it was in the shape of my body. And something told me I just needed to walk into it. So I literally wanted, as I was walking into it, it was like, I felt everything rattling and it felt like I needed to scream for help, like I was gonna die, but I couldn't get the voice out of my throat to scream. And I felt like that if I didn't shake or scream, that I might get stuck like that forever or die. And so I just gave into it. I was like, all right, I'm just gonna freaking die. So I just gave into it. And when I gave into it, as I walked into that thing, I think I was stepping into like a plasma craft or something because as I walked into it, I gave into it after I was feeling that. And I opened up my eyes because I was grinding I was like, I was like grinding and had my eyes closed. And I opened up my eyes and it looked like there was tall, like wheat or something in front of me, like a wheat field. And I went to separate it so I can walk through it. But and it separated when I went to move it, but nothing touched my hand. Like I didn't feel nothing on my hand. So I went to separate it, and when I did that, everything moved out the way, and I was still in the same park, but everything was empty. Nobody, no people were sitting around like before. It was just empty. So I was like, holy shit, like what's going on in this? Like an empty park now. Like it's in the same park, but much different, like a different atmosphere, right? And it felt like a different time of day. So I started walking around the park and nobody was in it. And then so I started walking around the park and I realized I'm not alone in this park. In the back of the park, there are these tables that are bolted down where people play dominoes and cards and stuff. There's like four chairs at each table. So when I walked to the back of the park, I realized that these little people that are sitting at each four of them are sitting at each table. They all look identical. They're about I never saw any of them stand, but they look to be about 4 feet tall. And the best way I could describe them is that they were pale faced like ghouls, like white Dracula white faces, and they all had these pronounced widow's peak that came down like a Eddie Munster widow's peak, and their hair was not like hair; it was like a pressed down matted, like pressed down black. It looked like, and it came down to a pronounced widow's peak, and they had these bumps over their eyes, and high cheekbones, and a smile that was plastered on and didn't move, like a weird like almost like a clown smile, but the smile never moved. It was just a fixed smile, and they had little nubs over here, like over their heads right here, right? And they're all sitting. Four each of them are sitting at each table, and I walked up over one shoulder, and I looked at what he was holding. And this is in 2001, before we had like different types of certain things that we have now. And he was holding something as thin as a playing card. It looked like it was a playing card, but it was see-through, like glass, right? And it was a playing card. And I looked into it, and in the middle, it was like almost like I don't know if it was a diamond shape in the middle, but in the middle, I started to look in the middle, and I was seeing things about my life at first. And I was hearing it in my head and seeing it. It was like we're attached to my emotions. And then I'm looking at it, and then I looked. I remember going back, and I'm making this sound a lot longer than it is, but this is what, this is as much as I can get out of it. I remember saying, "It's not all about me. It's not all about me." And then I looked back into it, and I started seeing. It gave me PTSD to this day. What I saw, I first saw giant, like feathery dinosaur-looking things colliding while the Earth is like falling apart and these things are battling each other instead of trying to save each other. They're fighting while the world is like in chaos. And then I saw the same thing with humanity, like us ripping each other apart while the world is and all of this stuff. And it was like PTSD type stuff. And then I started to hear someone calling me in like my name, and I like snapped out of it. And what had happened was my friend was actually looking for me in the park. But when I snapped out of it, it was I had lost a day and a half's time. I was literally, mind you, now standing there naked in the park after when I snapped out of it, and now the park was now with people in it,
And it's
right?
like jumping into different
And
dimensions and time.
and while I was walking out of the park trying to get to the alleyway because I was like basically naked. I think I was wearing just my underwear or something, right? I thought I was having an orgasm, Laura, while I was walking out of the park, and I was pissing myself all over myself. And I went behind the alleyway, and I was near like a dumpster with my arms around my knees, like rocking back and forth, and I was saying, I don't even know how for how long. It's not all about me. It's not all about me, like a weirdo, like I was messed up, like it was like PTSD. And my friend James, who he has passed away now, my friend James found me in the alleyway, and he went and got me like hell. He like got me got me clothed and got me home. Like I was a mess for days. But the next time I went like in public, there was a warrant out for my arrest, and the cops were looking for me with no reason why. And in downtown Long Beach where I lived, if you run from the police, there's helicopters on you in a second. So I literally you could probably look it up. I literally got arrested by the helicopter over me, and the cops got me in an alley. I ran from them, and I wouldn't give them my name. They were like, "Oh, we've seen you around here. Who are you?" And I didn't have no ID. I was from New York. I was on probation in New York. I wasn't even supposed to be in California, right? So, and I wouldn't give them my name. They had to find out through my fingerprints my name, and they found a knife open in my sweatshirt when they finally wrestled me down in the alleyway. And so they brought me back to um, Long Beach Police Department, and they said they were going to transfer me to what they call the Twin Towers. Ironically, in LA County Jail, they call it the Twin Towers. Ironically, right? So they were going to transport me to LA County Jail, the Twin Towers, they said, right? And they put me in when I first got arrested in the Long Beach Police Department. They put me in my street clothes in a tank with all these other Mexicans. I had no idea. They were trying to steal my sneakers and all types of. So I was like arguing with these Mexicans, and all of a sudden the cop just came from behind and hit me in the head. He figured he took me out of the problem out of the right. He hits me in the head with either a flashlight or a stick or whatever. The next thing I remember, I had my arm around two cops and I was being dragged to a cell. Right? They left me in there, stripped me naked, left me in there. And the next thing I remember, I'm on a bus. I thought I was going to the county jail. I'm at the docks on the Long Beach Harbor going out to Catalina Island. Right? The next thing I remember is because I was like in and out of consciousness. The next thing, I don't know if I was drugged and beat up, but I was definitely beat up because I had lumps on my head. My head got shaved, all types of stuff. So the next thing I remember, I was underground, most likely, because there was cinder block walls, no windows, and I woke up with the freaking nurses arguing over my blood coagulating because I was so dehydrated. They were trying to take my blood. They couldn't get it. The nurses were arguing with each other about my blood fucking coagulating, right? And an armed soldier came in and left. And then the next thing I remember, I was being brought back on a bus to the Long Beach Police Department to see the judge to get arraigned. And Laura, my ass tried to fucking explain this to the judge, right? And the judge tells me, "Listen, sir, I don't know if you told me what true, but it's obvious to me you went through some traumatic." Because I told him, "Listen, the cops hit me, this and that." He's like, "I don't know what you went through, and if what you're telling me is true, but I know you went through something." Instead of because I was supposed to get going back to the county jail, he was he ROR'd me, which is released me on my own recognizance because he knew I was telling the truth. He knew it. That cop knew it. I was crying while I was telling the story, and I was looking him dead in the eyes, and yeah, apparently I had signed paperwork too that I fell. The cop had paperwork in the courtroom, and he's like, "Oh, I see that you had fallen, and that's why you had bumps on your head. You had signed this paperwork." I'm like, "Oh my God, I don't remember signing that, but that is my signature. Like it was my signature." So like I didn't, but I was like, "Sir, like I don't know. I think they made me sign that because I had a concussion. I was hit over the head or something." But I tried to tell him. But so I don't know, Laura, if I was let out to California for them to literally, or if by whatever happened to me in that park, whatever I experienced with those little people and all that shit, because they literally, uh, I got like a prophetic vision during that experience, and whatever I activated in that park, which the Long Beach Police Department is right around the corner from there. So I went on somebody's radar. Somebody knew about that experience because literally there was a warrant out for my arrest after that, and I didn't.
He,
They didn't. I don't know how to explain it.
yeah, yeah,
I
gosh,
don't
wow.
even like talking about these experiences. Like I stopped talking about them. Like years ago on shows because I didn't want to be defined by them. I wanted to be defined by my work, not by certain things that I can't even explain.
Well, still, thank you for sharing. I mean, it's like incredible. Have you
Yeah. I
ever
hope
seen
I didn't take too
anything?
long explaining
No,
it.
don't worry about it.
Right.
No, it's fascinating. Have you ever seen beings like that again with the widow's peak and the
No, not like that, but I have like blinking PTSD recollections of that fixed smile that never moved. It was like telepathic, and they had I could draw. I've drawn sketches of it. It was like their face were ghoulish too, very white, and their eyes were almond, almost almond, but not big. They're the regular sized eyes, and they had like these knobby, bumpy things here, and high cheekbones, and just a fake like clown smile
whoa, that's great.
and a very pronounced, like plastered down. It looked like hair, but more like a hair helmet. It didn't look like, and it came for a very pronounced, like widow's peak in
Must
the
sound
front.
like is it a keto that has kind of widow's peak like that?
Now that I like think about it all these years, like I'm thinking, is it possible when I stepped in that mirage looking shimmering wave thing that was a craft? And then, and it was like a simulation of the park to make it look like I was still in the park because like I could be in some sort of like simulated experience in there that I don't know. It's that's why I hate there's no answers. That's the most frustrating thing about it. And the vision that I had during it was pretty pretty PTSD like. It was shock. It was horrible. What I
Wow.
saw the people doing to each other is like you can't repeat.
Jeez.
Yeah. It's you can't even I wouldn't be able to articulate the feeling that came along with the vision the right way. It was just like bone trembling,
What
sh
what do you
yeah.
think it was trying to communicate to you about the world in the future?
I think that there's some kind of event coming like that, and that maybe I'm uh, certain people like myself and yourself are here to help guide people during these times and help reawaken some knowledge that maybe we need to move to another planetary system. Maybe this one is not going to be suitable for us soon, and maybe that's why
Yeah,
certain people like ourselves are connecting.
right. Yeah, that's a interesting thing to ponder. Hoping we,
Yeah,
stay on Earth and manage what's going on here. The level of insanity, it's just out of control.
really out of
And,
control. And
and it
and
can
and
follow us wherever we go if we don't, I don't know.
yeah,
It's a tough
that's
one.
true too.
Yeah. Well, I got a question. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's a lot to think about. Wow.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
how do you bridge ancient mythology and mysticism with modern plasma physics in your current studies?
Yeah. See, that's how from my the near death experience I had as a kid led me into eventually plasma physics. It took a long progression. I was always into the ancient writings. It's sort of like I inherited it almost as a kid. But my whole life I've been involved in ancient writings and mythology. But from my near death experience, it sort of led me into exploring plasma because I feel like during it, what I went to was inside of the magnetosphere around our planet, which I think is what the Egyptians call the Duat, the Hebrews call the Gehenna, Christians call it heaven and hell, Greeks call it Hades, right? It's a dynamic region that's around our planet that's whirling vortexes of plasma and mountainous landscapes in there and a chaotic dark side region where all these like chaos gods make create auroras and all this stuff. It's like all the mythology from I started to realize as I got into and I sort of was guided to that and I started having these experiences with these plasma crafts. I have them on some of them on my YouTube. They're like these reddish balls of fire that are intelligent, that are in the sky. I've all over the Hudson Valley, New York. I've had several encounters with them. And I realized that after I would see them, my research and certain things that would come to me, it would be like an obsession. I'd be guided by it, and things would just start to come to me. So I got it to become a senior undergraduate in plasma physics, and I realized that the mathematics part of it was not for me. I wanted to realize how plasma is affecting the spiritual domain of all life in the universe because it literally is the lifeblood of the universe. It's why Irving Lemure in 1928 chose the word plasma. In the 1830s, they named the blood plasma. But in 1928, Irving Lemure, he decided to use that word plasma because he realized this substance is like the lifeblood of the universe, like blood is the, plasma, right? And because it was first rediscovered in 1875 by Sir William Crookes, but he called it radiant matter in the Crookes tube in the lab. But then in 1928, Irving Lemure, he was like a pioneer in ionized gases and stuff like that. He decided to call it plasma because it's like a lifeblood. It's literally, space is not empty, right? It's not an empty vacuum. 99.99% of the mass of the universe is plasma. It's it's when you see a nebula, that's millions of light years, a pool of plasma, right? Like in the ancient Egyptian, they call boat of millions of years. That's like a nebula. It's literally a big, huge millions of light years of plasma, right? When you see a sun, that's a plasma star, a plasmasphere. All stars are plasma. In school, they teach us an archaic version that they're hydrogen gas spheres. They're actually not. They're actually plasma. It's a step above a hydrogen gas sphere. It's where the ionized gas is so hot, they start knocking together and stripping where it moves away, and it's a sentient, free-forming life now. And there's all different species of plasma. And I started to realize when I got into the plasma physics that, oh my God, they're describing this in mythology. Like all the solar kings and the gods, these are all the celestial lights, the plasmas of the universe. And all the attendants of the gods and the children of the gods seem to be the structures that form within the plasma. And it's incredible. And I started to realize that they're talking about it in their own way, but in the past, they didn't just have science and spirituality like we do, two different ends of the spectrum. They were fused together, and mythology was developed to be able to pass down through they gave earthly names and attributes to some of the secrets of nature in the universe to be able to pass them down through oral traditions. And they wanted to name something of importance. They named it after something of importance from the celestial realm, right? When they had a sacred river here on Earth, they named it from a river from the cosmos. A plasma river, right? When a special, powerful mountaintop, they named it after the magnetic mountains in the sky, right? And when they wanted to name a king of power, they named it after a sun or a star or something of power from the sky, right? So it's the same thing in mythology, and I started to realize that most of the mythology that people think is primitive is actually showing advanced plasma physics, heliophysics, and advanced astrophysics. Most of it, even like when it comes down to like anything from the Hindu to the Hopi, the Etruscans to the Egyptians, the Dogon to the Druids. I mean, anything. They're talking about the celestial waters of the afterlife, and that's plasma. When you see a sun or a star, it's streaming rivers of plasma coming from it. Each sun and star have these rivers of plasma coming out, and all of that all these streams of and rivers of plasma coming from each sun and star, they all form a confluence of one big celestial ocean. And that's talked about in every religion and every mythology, whether you're paying the Grim Reaper to cross the river Styx in the afterlife, or you're the Pharaoh Unis that's traveling into the celestial waters. All these different stories that they have. It's all talking about the plasma ocean that we live in, that we're sitting in and spinning in, right? It's just all big celestial waters, and it's celestial light, it's celestial waters, celestial winds, the god of the winds. They're all talking about solar wind, solar waters. It's all related. All the gods are talking about this. So I started to realize, like in ancient Greek too, they have an ancient term in Greek called apeiron. It's spelled iron, Apeiron, and there was a pre-Socrates philosopher Anaximander, and he had this term apeiron, and he said that it means unlimited, boundless, indefinite, but it's like a primordial, eternal, ageless principle, a law of the cosmos from which all things emerge and from which everything must return as well. And that's what the plasma waters are, where our souls are, I think, a plasma type of light body. And it's created from the light and it must return to the light. So when our souls die, we have to go back into the celestial waters, the light. We have to go back into the sun, right? And we have to get pulled back into the sun by the magnetic field lines, the naga, the snakes.
your mind, I'm so blown away just hearing what you have to share. It's just incredible.
And
And
it was all written out for us. We lost this knowledge. Like I'm just reawakening it because I think in my past lives and within my hereditary line, I have the past of being an adept, being a scribe. And I've come back to reawaken that knowledge. Maybe I misused it in the past, and I have to come back and set shit right.
hmm, well, talk to us about the weaponization of all this and just how inversion and
Yeah. Well,
amnesia and yeah.
even what I had a revelation. The my biggest discovery I think I've ever had is actually decoding what the Ankh actually is. I was shown the Ankh is the coronal mass ejection loop, right? So you know the Ankh, right? So a coronal mass ejection from the sun is this loop, that loop, right? And the Ankh is the most powerful solar symbol that's wielded by the sun god, right? Literally, you have Akhenaten right here in the 18th dynasty, right? You have the arm of the sun handing down a loop, an Ankh loop to its solar king and queen, right? That's exactly how coronal mass ejections form, and coronal mass ejections are the key to life. They were early CMEs is what brought the particles to bring start the sulfur and the molecules. It just was discovered now in 2025 that further proves my theory that early CMEs jump started life on this planet. It was the key to life, right? And they these onc loops on our sun, we have powerful magnetic field lines that are always in motion. They can become entangled by the convection of plasma and the differential rotation of the sun. And when this happens, these magnetic field lines entangle, they form these magnetic reconnection events that form these loops, these solar flares, solar prominence, coronal mass ejection, and they burst out into space. They're magnetic reconnections events, right? And they affect the energetic bodies of all life in the universe. And when they crash to our planet, they don't just disrupt electronics, they disrupt the energetic bodies. They are, delivery systems to this planet. And literally, these magnetic field lines that come in loops, they penetrate our magnetosphere, and some of them snap back into the sun. This is the solar boat, snake, magnetic field lines, winged serpents pulling the solar chariot. All of that snapback is how souls are guided in the afterlife in ancient Egyptian writings to go to the dark side of the magnetosphere and snap back into the sun during these magnetic reconnection events. And I started to uncover this. And in mythology, they're literally giving instructions for the afterlife. In many of these, in the Pharaoh Unas, in the pyramid texts, they literally have him being pulled on cords of iron into the horizon. That's how they describe it. Do you realize we have magnetic field lines that come from the liquid core, iron core of our planet? They're literally cords of iron that come out into the celestial waters. And Pharaoh Unas, at the moment of death, he's guided to ride these cords of iron into the horizon, right? Into the duat, into the celestial war, into the underworld, which literally is the night side of our magnetosphere, where it stretches out. It's a huge dynamic region that's thousands of times the size of Earth. It's incredible, right? And that region is heaven and hell. That region around our planet. It's the other world.
Do you feel it really polarized? I mean, in this duality, or there's an integration of these energies somehow that is happening? And how can you relate all this to the Schumann resonance?
I think that that's the heartbeat of Earth, right? And it's connected to the sun. It's connected to the sun is like the god of our solar system. So between the sun, the moon, this is and our planet, I think that's like the heartbeat of our planet, the Schumann resonance, right? I would say it's like, and how I look at it, it's like a harmony of spheres. So how it affects us spiritually is all energies are formed out amongst the sun amongst the cosmos. The sun will channel in energies and send them to us depending on our own vibration. So like when we have whatever's the vibration coming out of the planet, say the majority of the collective consciousness is greedy and materialistic, the sun hears our calls, it hears our prayers, and it will send down the appropriate light to evolve us accordingly, right? and then we'll alter that signature with our own vibration. And then we send out our vibration. The moon picks it up. The moon will alter it by its own vibration, reflects it back to the sun. The sun will alter it by its own vibration, and then send it back down to us. And then, so like what's coming out of us literally is going to come back down to us and will be evolved. The sun will channel in energies. Hey, this this planetary system is looking to be more greedy and materialistic and wants this certain vibration. Well, I'm going to channel in certain energies from certain star systems that will invoke those principles and laws and personalities on this planet, and will be evolved accordingly, right? And I think that's the way we're connected to all of it like that. And you see it in astrology in your own way.
Mhm. Yeah, oh my gosh.
You know, everybody has their own little piece and their interpretation of it, and it doesn't mean one person's wrong and the other person's not. It's just everybody has their own way of interpreting it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So,
Yeah,
what role do copper spirals, tensor tools, and crystalline structures play in interacting with subtle energy fields?
yeah, that's what they really, those subtle energy fields is what is the most important things, and how they really interact with them is they help channel energies from the heavenly realms right down to you, right? And though what copper in general helps bring knowledge from the higher realms down to the lower realms, and different gemstones that you use will help tap into those different subtle energies that you have on different times of the year and different times, so that's why it's great to have like different types of gemstones that you're wrapping in different copper coils, and you're wearing them for different types of days and different types of personalities that you affect throughout the year. So yeah, those little subtle energies is what it's made for, because every object has like what they call like a Newman energy, right? And Numen, that it's like even inanimate objects seem to take on different types of energies. So these devices, they seem to be able to balance those energies for you.
Yeah, it's incredible. I love the pieces that I have and the power that I feel from them, and it's really incredible.
Yeah, it's it's a real science behind it. A lot of people that do copper, I mean, wire wrapping with crystals. I think they're doing it just for the art of it and the look of it, because a lot of them they're wrapping a lot of coils, and all these coils are clashing against each other. When you want to wrap a coil around the stone, even if it's not going over the whole stone, you want it to flow so the energy can be carried easily to a point and out. You
Yeah,
don't want all these different coils everywhere bashing each other. Then it's a really chaotic piece.
right. I mean, it's so important that you know that, right? My God.
Yeah, I could see it. I could feel it. Like, like so when whether it's like a coil that you're using the twisted copper, or because if I wanted to make these for the look of it, I'd make them a hell of a lot more intricate. I've been wrapping copper for many, many years. I could make all those crazy coils, I could do all that, but it's the flow of the energy of the crystal doesn't know where to go. It's all bashing against each other. And then
Yeah,
if you try to put thoughts into that, your thoughts are going to be all messed up and discombobulated. So it does more harm than good.
yeah, for sure. Gosh, right. So for someone just beginning their awakening journey, what is the first step toward becoming more just aware of the multidimensional and how energy works? Like, I
Hmm.
mean, we have to learn how to manage energy. There's frequency manipulations and modulations coming at us all the time. Um,
I
And
think the
if
first
you could
step would
say
be
to a person
grounding.
first kind of awakening how to, because you have some extraordinary experiences on your journey, right? You
Yeah.
got out of some severe situations, and I wanted to almost go back to that story of how you got out of all that, if you want to talk about that again. But for somebody who's just kind of,
Yeah, I kind of just left you hanging, and then how I recovered from it all.
I,
Yeah, it took a lot to recover. I actually I went to Thailand and did a Muay Thai camp for 28 days at one point, and then I took a couple of I had always done martial arts. I had to push myself physically to the limit for a couple of years. I literally did, because I'm the type of kid growing up where I didn't just do what you told me. I had to be taught like a lesson. Like I was a rough kid, right? And I went through a lot. So I literally, after this all, I went to Thailand, and check this out. allegedly. I was when I was out in California, I was on probation in New York at the time, right? And I had a friend out there, my friend James, who we looked a lot alike. I literally, Laura, went to California. I went to when I was out in California. I went to Thailand with my friend's ID and passport. We switched. I gave him my ID pass, and we looked a lot alike. I went to Thailand and Brazil with it. And I actually took a couple of Muay Thai fights in Thailand. I did a camp out there. I went to Brazil. I went to the shoot the box camp in Curitiba, Brazil, and I did like MMA with them for a little while. And I had to like get humbled. Had to get humbled in many ways, and it made me into a man
Yeah.
because I was kind of a punk, you know.
And
I
it's a
kind of
good
was a punk
question.
in a little way. I had to make myself into a man, and I wasn't gonna do it by going back to my mom's house. So I kind of just I went through some things that I knew that I needed, and it made me into a different person. And then like after that I kind of I went to a seriously I got married, and then I was with that woman for like 13 years, and then we got together. Now my this is my second relationship, and we have an 8-year-old daughter. So yeah, the woman I'm with now, my wife now, I've known her actually since sixth grade, but we didn't reconnect until I was 39. I'm 48 now.
Damn, that's incredible.
Yeah.
So what do you see just in the world right now with humanity and where everything's going and the energies and the shifts that are happening?
Well, I actually think 2026 is going to be a big year for a lot of people.
I think
I
so
feel
too.
it.
Me too.
I could feel it. It's going to be like an explosive year for some people that that have been doing what that some things that they've been waiting for a very long time are just going to like explode in their life. I feel that's going to happen. I feel also some people are going to be passing on. A lot of people are going to be passing on too. It's going to be a weird transition stuff going on with that. And some people are just, there's certain things, certain decisions that they made that they're going to be going to a different stage of their energy. And and I think a lot of us are going to be doing a lot of work this year, big work this year.
Yeah. I mean, when you talk about plasma and energy and CMEs and a
This
person
is
that's
where,
in alignment is going to move through, growth periods, initiations, and
yep,
integration
you're
process.
going to see the
If
plasma
you're
thing is going to
not,
be, and
that's going to
I
be,
shouldn't get so mad when people are talking about it. I'm like, well, I've been talking about it for a while. You always get that. I should be happy that people are awakening to it, because we're going to find out that the ancient writings, all of these ancient writings were holding some of the secrets and answers that we've been looking for, and the spiritual significance of them as well. And the reason why we've known that they're so special is because somewhere in us we can feel. It's just that we've been mistranslating a lot of it because we didn't have access to the information that we do now. And a lot of us are awakening to it, and you're gonna feel it. And I think there's gonna be a lot of things a lot of us are sort of finding our family. I think that we've reoccurred in other lifetimes with, a lot of us that are reconnecting, and I think that we're gonna be on the front lines of this new planet that's emerging.
oh, for sure. Help us to understand the Tanaara lineage a little bit more and its connection with preserving stellar and cosmic
Yeah.
knowledge and
So
where
yeah,
it's coming through.
it's certain people throughout the not everyone in the family, but certain people throughout certain generations have been a keen to passing on sort of the family traditions and some of the stories, and basically, um, going back hundreds of years, there's passed down in my family. People have been healers and mystics and blacksmiths, and there's certain stories that are passed down that have some of the oral traditions and some of the knowledge that was came from all the way to the Etruscans. Etruscans got them from the Persians. Persians got them from Sanskrit. It's been passed down and just put on different names and different localities, right? And they became different stories, and during certain times of the year, certain Italian families will gather. They call them the Vellas, and it's basically like a fire gathering where they have cooking and food, and the family will enact certain stories, and the stories will be secrets about the cosmos and the universe and nature. And certain people in my bloodline have been chosen to pass along those stories and keep them alive throughout.
And
you
where
know,
can
and
we
that's
find more of that as far as what you've been sharing? That's on your website.
yeah, yeah. I have some of it on my website, themysticalspiralstore.com. I have it on my Patreon, my Substack. I'm always posting stuff about, you know,
Yeah, I'm gonna
stuff.
put all
So
those links
always there.
and definitely
Yeah.
subscribe. It's just like
Yeah,
so.
and even my Patreon's like $2 a month you could join for, and it's less than the price of a coffee, and I put up all week long. I put up information, so and I really appreciate you helping you joining my Substack. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's that's cool.
And I made you a co-host so you can share some images with us.
Yeah, so let me show you guys too about what I mean about the coronal mass ejection. Um, so let me stop sharing for 1 minute. Let me pull it up first. Thought I had it pulled up. I must have X'd out of it. Let me pull it up first. So you guys can see really how in depth it goes with so many different cultures and how not just Egyptian. Hold this up. Yeah, not just in Egyptian, but I mean every culture. And the Ankh in ancient Egypt is, you know, everybody knows the Ankh, but I don't think they realize that it's in other cultures as well, especially Hindu and Sanskrit, and how they're perfectly explaining it. So here, let me share screen. All right, so this is a coronal mass ejection from the sun. You see the loop? So you have this described in all cultures. You have here, this is Varuna, and Varuna is the god of the solar waters. Literally, he's the god of the solar waters. You can look in the Rig Veda, and Varuna is the lord of the celestial oceans and the cosmic waters and the sun. And that's a very powerful metaphor for plasma and the fundamental fluids that fills the vastness of space. And the different arms of the solar deity, as you see here, is the swirling vortex of the sun, the many rays of the sun. And in each arm, the deity will be wielding a different attribute and weapon or or personality of the sun. And one of the most powerful thing that the sun god wields is this loop. See, they have two cords that form the loop, and he's wielding it from his hand, just like the Ankh, the solar deities wield the Ankh in ancient Egyptian. This is called in Hindu the Pasha. It's a golden lasso that is called a noose or a golden lasso that is described as a golden noose that is wielded by Varuna, and he pulls in souls into the celestial waters with that golden noose, right? And it's also Ganesha, the elephant Ganesha. He also is wielding the golden cords, the golden loops right here, the big sun red elephant, and Varuna wields them. It's Varuna the Pasha and Ganesha. It's called the Pasha, and Ganesha uses this to remove the evil on Earth, and he releases his snakes from it, the magnetic field lines from it. Right? So it's described all over, like even in the Persians. This is the sun god Ahura Mazda, the Lord of the Rings, the rings from the sun. They even have the two magnetic field lines that are spiraling in to twist it to form the ring. That's exactly how a coronal mass ejection forms. Two magnetic field lines come together, twist together to form the ring of the sun. Right? It's in every culture, and you can see this is the coronal loop. This is the Ankh that comes right from the sun. It's wielded right from the sun god, and the magnetic reconnection is shown incredibly as well, like in ancient Egypt as well. Like this is basically a magnetic reconnection event. When you see two opposing serpents or two opposing cords that the goddess is about to twist together, and could see two opposing serpents on the sun, these are two opposing magnetic field lines that come together to form a burst or explosion of energy. And that's what's described. This is the He symbol, magnetic reconnection symbol in ancient Egypt. And it's shown in many different ways. And it's all advanced heliophysics and plasma physics. And I think, we tap into the light of the universe. Like what's pulsating from the sun is connected to the spinal current of humanity. Like we're walking antennas. So these light, like intuitively can see the structures of the light, these universal laws and structures. And it's been drawn in pictoglyphs. Shaman have been intuitively seeing plasma structures and drawing them on petroglyphs and pictoglyphs and stuff like that. Even in our art, like in Gustave Doré. You ever see Gustave Doré's art of Dante Alighieri?
Mhm.
He did the depictions. Like, so we had the brightest gamma ray ever recorded a couple of years ago, and this is what the recording of the brightest gamma ray was, right? That's what it looked like. Now, this is Gustave Doré's the light of the highest heaven that he drew in the 1800s.
Yes, I know. Yes, I remember that one.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Isn't that exactly like the gamma ray burst that was recorded in 2022? Look at this.
Yeah.
And Gustave Doré literally calls it the highest light of the heavens. And that's what a gamma ray burst is. He has rings of angel forming that same structure. And these rings, this pulsates over several days. It echoes out that burst. You know? It's incredible. So we're
That
tapping
vision.
into it. It's
Yeah.
right through our art.
Hmm. It's amazing. Wow.
Yeah. It's incredible stuff. Incredible stuff.
Yeah, and I mean this has just been coming through you pretty much
Yeah.
all
It's
throughout your life.
yeah, and then the
Particularly
last
like after
10
9 years
years.
old, it really.
Yeah, and then the last 10 years, the plasma has kicked in because like 10, 15 years ago, I would have told you the Ankh meant something else. I really would have. And it wasn't that I was wrong, but it wasn't that it was my footwork to the truth. Like you're not just gonna get the answers from books alone. Like I had to live my life, and then the universe started fucking working with me. It started being like, oh, the universe started speaking to me and showing me things like, Laura, I would have this epiphany about something, and then I would look up and a woodpecker would like fly away, or like, a fox would run by, or like the nature was like involved with me discovering this. Right? It was like, it was part of it.
Oh,
It started to unlock.
yeah,
Yeah.
so powerful. Amazing.
Yeah. When I had the revelation about the Ankh, I was at a dolmen. It's the red granite. It's a red granite dolmen in North Salem, New York, that looks like Sekhmet. It has it. Let me show you. Hold on, let me pull this up for you real quick. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this. It's one of my spots where I charge my crystal skulls at, and I bring a lot of different things there. So let me pull it up. Hold on. So this is my website. If you guys go to my website, you guys can go into the more menu, and I have so much free information. This is about my bloodline and my family, some of the research. If you go here, it has the megalithic secrets, Vedic dynasties and megalithic secrets. If you go down, you'll see some of the stuff here. So check out this red granite dolmen that is here in the Hudson Valley, New York. Now you could see, look at it compared to the Sphinx, the eye, the nose, the mouth, right? And then on winter solstice morning, the sun sits on top of the head, just like you see here on winter solstice morning. And this thing, look at it compared to me sitting there. Look how massive it is, me standing there.
Gosh, that's
Yes, it's
incredible. Wow.
90 tons of red granite. They first called it a glacial erratic because the red granite's not from anywhere around here. They said the Ice Age brought it here. But they now call it a dolmen and a ceremonial site. It's possibly been there as long as they think it's been there at least 10,000 years, right? So, I mean, and it's not only propped up on smaller stones like that, but it's on top of a magnetic anomaly, and there's underground water beneath this spot, right? So what's so special about it being granite is that when you have a piece of granite like red granite here, granite has high quantities of quartz crystal in it, and granite has high quantities of magnetite in it. So you have electricity and magnetism going on at the very same time. Plus, this spot has underground water beneath it. So when you have a spot that has underground water with a dolmen on top of it that's made of granite, the natural shocks and vibrations that's generated from the underground water will rub together the quartz inside the granite and open up the light of the stone. right? And when you have a dolmen lifted off the ground like this one is, that's like pulling a guitar string off of a fretboard so it can vibrate and resonate the solar rays that it's absorbing. Like you have the negatively charged ground and the positively charged atmosphere. So when you lift it off the ground like a dolmen, it's literally like pulling the guitar string off of the fretboard so it can vibrate the solar rays that it's pulling in and broadcast it. It's a powerful spot. And there's a ceremonial dish that's underneath this spot that I put my crystal skull in, and that's on winter solstice morning is when I was shown the Ankh was the coronal mass ejection at this site. Really incredible.
That is really incredible.
Yeah, this is I'll show you some of the like on winter solstice you can see like that's the crystal skull underneath this spot, the ceremonial dish there underneath it. And see on winter solstice the sun comes right over it. It's right on top of the head throughout the day. That was on winter solstice. Let me show if I have another picture on winter solstice.
And where is it? Hudson Valley?
Yeah, North Salem, New York, in the Hudson Valley.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like 30 miles from my house, from right here. And then I don't know if I have another picture of the sun, how it sits on. Yeah, that's the magnetic anomaly. And look, as soon as the sun goes down, there's all these orbs that appear at the spot because it's like an electron surge from the quartz, the piezoelectric quartz all around it. It's incredible. All these plasma balls that appear,
I want to
plasma
go
orbs.
there so much. Wow.
Yeah, you gotta come. You gotta come here. Maria Wheatley's coming too. We're gonna do something here. We're gonna do like a tour there for people. See how the sun on winter solstice, it comes right over this the whole day on winter solstice. It's really incredible. That's me during winter solstice there one year, and the sun just comes right, look it, right on top of the head on winter
Wow.
solstice.
Uh-huh.
Really incredible. We're
Yeah.
just like Sekhmet.
Mm. Wow, right.
It's crazy. So I don't know if this side was carved as an effigy to Sekhmet or not, but I'm thinking it was carved as an
And you just
effigy.
noticed that. That wasn't something
Yeah, yeah.
that's wild.
It looks like a cat stone.
Yeah.
And it's not just sort of like it. I mean, let me get the full and see. Look at the other side, Laura. Check this out. The other side is a completely different dolmen. This is the other side of it. It's like a complete. It transforms depending on what side you're on. On this side, it looks like a tabletop dolmen, right? On the other side, it's like it's carved as an effigy into like a face. I mean, it doesn't just have some features of Sekhmet. It has all the features of Sekhmet. Look, it has the cheek line, the ear, the headdress on the back, the eye, the nose, everything. To me, it's even in like Ashtaroth in the Canaanites and the Phoenicians, they depicted them as a Sekhmet type being as well. And that word Pasha that I mentioned from the coronal mass ejection, the solar king, I think that's where the feline goddess Pasht comes from in Egypt, right? Also, most words come from Sanskrit, especially like the Aryan tribes. Like a lot of these, like Egyptian comes right from Sanskrit. Like Osiris's real name is Asar. That comes from Asura, the Asura tribes of Sanskrit, right? Same with Assyrian, Ahura Mazda. All that comes from Sanskrit, right? And they have all the same gods like Mitra and all that, right? All the same. It's all the same. They're all Aryan tribes that split out. And they formed the Mitanni, the Assyrians, the Phoenicians, the all these people, and then some of them were giants even.
Wow, gosh. Oh man, this is just so
Yeah, I could
amazing.
go all night.
I love it. Oh my goodness. We got to do a part two. We got to do more.
Yeah, for sure. We got to have you on my podcast. So I know you're so busy though. I don't know how you do so many conferences. How do you do it?
I don't know. I just do it. I just do it.
You and Mike Barra too. I was like, how does he go to all these places?
Well, I mean, we're all busy. Busy is
Yeah.
just
We're all busy. See, I homeschool my daughter
that's
and
incredible.
yeah, and we do a lot. So like, yeah, some people probably couldn't imagine doing that.
Right.
It's
God,
it's hard to do that as well. It's its own struggle.
Well, good for you. You're doing amazing. And yeah, just, yeah, that story you told too. Just, wow. Just every,
Yeah. And
that,
that was, 25 years ago. 25 years ago that happened. And it's still, I don't have any answers.
yeah, that's really,
Especially I think about that man, that homeless man. I think about him almost every day of my life. Like, what was that?
it
Was
will
that
come back
a
around.
demon trying to collect my soul, like a soul contract? Because yeah, I saw this movie in the 80s called Crossroads with Ralph Macchio. Do you ever see that?
It sounds really familiar, actually.
Ralph, where
Yeah, I definitely remember him.
there's like a black guy called Legba that like offers him a contract for his soul,
Oh, I don't think I've seen that.
right? And then Steve Vai, the guitarist, Steve Vai is like the devil's guitarist.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and he has to do a battle against Ralph Macchio. It's called Crossroads. That is very similar to the experience that I went to.
How did I
Like,
miss that one? Hmm.
yeah, it's a pretty good
Very
movie.
similar.
You'll
Wow.
love it.
I'll have to
Yeah.
see it. And
Yeah, ironically, I think it was in 1987 too.
yeah,
The
I'm
year that I had my
I,
I think that's the year it was released. Crossroads.
yeah, I'm gonna have to revisit that. It
Yeah, that
definitely
was a
sounds
good movie.
familiar, but
It
yeah.
was supposed to be about like the blues player Robert Johnson because he supposedly made a deal
Oh,
with the
yeah.
devil at the
Yeah, I've
crossroads,
seen, yeah.
right? And for some reason, that reminds me of sort of what I went through. It was like a musician, and this guy trying to ask me to like say yes, come work for him, and he'll give me basically everything I've ever wanted. He's been watching me. He's seen me around. Like he's like, I seen you around. You can not take, you know how to take care of yourself, and like you could play that thing really well. I've been thinking about it every day, and I think it was my grandmother's spirit that came into me the day before, like when I smelt her all over me. I think it's her that made me say, "Sir, thank you, but no, thank you." Because like I was polite. It wasn't like I said, "Get the fuck out of here," no, or like I was like, "Sir, thank you, but no, thank you," and I that wasn't my typical way of answering people like at that age,
Yeah. Gosh.
especially at that time in my life. I would have been like, get out of here. What the hell are you doing?
Mhm.
But it was like a calm came over me. Like every day I think about it, like something came over me and made me say it like that too. It was like a calmness. I can't explain it.
What a crossroads for you. Yeah, my gosh.
Yeah, definitely was.
Yeah.
Definitely was.
Gosh. Well, thank you so much for your
My
time
pleasure.
today. And it's just been so wonderful to connect with you. And I look forward to seeing just where everything goes with this next year and what's ahead. And I'm
For
feeling really good
sure.
about it.
And it's been a pleasure getting to know you. And I think you are one of the most courageous and amazing women out there. I
Oh, thank
really do.
you.
And you're
Really,
very, you got courage and you're very intelligent and I like how you carry yourself and I always support you. So,
thank you so much. Oh my
yeah.
God.
And like I said to the person like that even made a stupid comment today, like you don't have to agree with everything someone says,
Yeah.
right? Like we don't like in life. I don't care if it's your mother, your wife, your brother, your sister, your whoever. Nothing they're gonna do 100% of the time you're gonna agree with. That's part of being human. But like, what does that mean? They're not a good person? Like, I'm sure there's
All
gonna be
be
things
nice
that
to
I
each other.
say that you don't technically agree with, that you have a different perspective on, and I'm vice versa, right? But that doesn't mean that the quality of the person that you are has anything to do with it.
Yeah. Well, I'm not even very fixed. I appreciate all sorts
I
of
didn't understand it. He has some kind of personal issue for
well,
some reason because
that's
like
all right.
you're
I
like one of the nicest women out there. You're very easy to get along with. No, and everybody will say that. You know. So,
yeah, it's okay. I kind of chuckle at it. It's not a big deal, but
oh,
thanks for
I've
having me
gotten
back.
I've
I
gotten called
appreciate
every
it.
name in the book out there too. So.
Yeah. Well, we all have each
From
other's.
black magic to whatever they think they would like, you know.
It doesn't matter. Truth
Yeah,
exists.
like, and I always tell them, hey, I don't cast spells. I help people break them.
Hmm. Yeah.
You know,
No,
I'm
you're,
not a spell caster. I help you break getting casted upon.
yeah, no, it's incredible the work you do and the multidimensional power and awareness and creative manifestation abilities and intent and working so closely with nature, like you said.
Yeah,
You're part of, nature and
yeah, for sure. And I want to talk to you one day on my podcast too, because like I feel like a lot of people out there are giving performances and not giving the truth, and it takes away from certain people like yourself that have real truth going on. right? And it's like, yeah, I've seen it. Like people are, everything's getting colluded out there, and there's so much misinformation coming in, and it's I don't know what it is. People are doing it for like you could tell when someone's putting on a performance. I can tell,
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
know. And I see it at conferences even. Like some of the conferences that we've been together, I could tell if someone's up there giving a performance,
Mhm.
you know? And if you're like claiming to be from like the military and you're giving away military secrets about missions, that I don't think that's possible.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Right? How
Yeah,
like
I
are
know, right? I
what
mean,
you're
I
telling
think
me you're making a career in writing books about selling military secrets? Is that even possible? Isn't that like grounds for like fatal termination? Like
Oh. Discernment,
it
discernment.
doesn't mean they're not nice people. I mean, I get along
Oh, I
with them,
know.
but like I don't think it's real. It's like a performance.
Yeah.
Like look how much disclosure like for someone to talk about a military person to talk about a craft that they saw while on duty. Look how much they have to go through. It's like big conferences. You think you would be able to talk about going to other planets, being in the military at conferences without them putting an end to it,
Yeah, I don't know. Those are good questions.
right? And that's just common sense, I think, right? I mean,
I
I
don't
don't
know.
think they don't mess with it to mess with it because they know it's crazy talk.
Yeah, I don't know
And
if
then
you know all
and then
that.
not for nothing too, like some of these people, like I've talked to them, like if you were going on missions to other worlds for the military, you would have to be basically like an astronaut. You would have to be advanced in mathematics and physics and all these things. And some of the people that claim to be part of it, they don't. I know more fucking astrophysics than they do. You know, I like one guy I talked to, he claimed he was like in Jupiter or something. He didn't even know about Jupiter's magnetosphere. I was asking him questions about it. He had no clue what I was talking about,
It
you
was so
know?
fun being on the panel with you.
And I don't gotta kiss people's ass. I just tell I just I'm who I am. Like I don't because like I feel like hey, if you're an expert or claiming to be an expert on something, when you face adversity, it should be easy for you because now you get to prove the depth of what you know. If you just need a cheerleader all the time, then you don't get the hell out of here. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. Like you start to learn things about yourself when you face adversity. It makes you, you know, it makes you learn things. But if someone just needs someone clapping for them all the time, and maybe we need to take a second look about what they're saying. Maybe they're, you know, just doing it for the publicity of it,
Right,
you know. And
right. And that's something that will reveal itself over the course of time. And
yeah,
one thing is we stay strong on our truth because we'll be able to see through
yeah.
just
And like some of these people are my friends.
yeah.
You know, so I'm not, it's not like I'm talking shit. It's just that like I really in deep in my heart, if you really asked me my hearts of hearts, I really don't agree with I don't think it's true some of the stuff that I've heard. Like my intuition is telling me, and I know I should keep it inside because it's not gonna like be the status quo and people think I'm being like bad towards them now and I don't like them. But that's not it. I have an opinion.
Yeah, I mean, people can't overly identify with, information.
Are we supposed to just accept everything someone says?
I think we have to be a part of this larger conversation and say what needs to be said to have
Yeah,
dialogue to get deeper together
yeah,
and see what stands and what doesn't. And the tough questions are important without taking it personally. It's not an attack on
yeah.
this
You know
is
what I think
we're
too,
putting it
Laura? I
all out
think
on the table right now.
yeah, you know what I think too, Laura? I think it's because like everything nowadays is like when we grew up, everything wasn't recorded. Everything wasn't like you're not on we're on the spot. 24/7 we're being put on the spot. So like no one likes to be challenged and made look like hey, like because they feel like it's a personal attack nowadays because we're like 24/7 on the spot, you know? So it's like I think everybody feels like they need to be accountable for what's going on because like everything's being recorded and it's there permanently. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah,
it's screwed up the way we interact with each other.
totally. Yeah. Well, that's what one good thing about the panel was um I don't know. Everybody still stayed relatively
Yeah,
connected, even if there were those moments,
yeah,
which was good. But
yeah. I
it's
think that's
so
good.
important.
I
So
think we
important.
should question things.
We do. We need to.
We do it because if we just accept everything, then I mean, you're never gonna figure things out. I mean,
This is what we.
I don't like that we become. It's not like colleagues. It becomes competition. Like who's got the better story or who's got the
Yeah.
truth or who's got the it shouldn't be that. We should be like putting our heads together to find the truth.
Well, that's
Not that, oh,
probably,
I got the truth and your shit is garbage.
aren't we waking up from all that? That kind of old
Yeah,
guy model with different lingo. We shouldn't be,
exactly.
like we have to
Yep.
think beyond that. That's
That's 100%. And then I think that's what was taking place, that some people want to be, hey, I'm the one that has the right answer here and not you.
yeah,
And I think that shouldn't be the way.
I absolutely agree. My gosh.
Yeah.
Said that.
It's unfortunate that you would think that in a spiritual community, people would be more open to other people's work, but it's like people are very like cutthroat. Or I noticed that at the conference. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
It was very, yeah.
Yep. Maybe
And the
that.
most popular people are the most cutthroat.
Yeah, it's something else to navigate. My gosh. It's amazing that we all have each other and we're just observing this and we come together with these conversations and it's out there in the public, like you said, recorded. We're just
Yeah.
figuring out all this stuff. And
Yeah. And
your
then I
content,
even thought about it afterwards, like, oh my God, that panel was just recorded. I should have just kept my mouth shut.
but I mean, it's all necessary. I really appreciated all
Yeah.
that you shared and oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
But Laura, I appreciate you having me on. I should probably stop talking before I get myself in trouble.
Oh, I we could just keep going. So we'll have to reconnect here real soon. I hope
Yeah.
to see you in New York and
Yes. Hey, if you ever come in somewhere near the Hudson Valley or New York City, I'll come pick you up in New York City. I'll take you to you can meet my family. We'll take you to the Rock.
nice. That
Let me
sounds
know. Yeah,
yeah. And I'll definitely be sharing your links, your jewelry,
definitely.
and I'll
And
still
I want to send you like because you like to sell them and stuff. So
I
I'd
don't
like to
know.
send
I usually gift them.
or gift them or
I
something.
might
Like you like
start
to make
selling them.
necklaces
I'm
with
not.
them.
I haven't really made a whole lot of jewelry in my life, but you inspired me to start
You
again.
should.
Yeah,
You should. You should do it. And I'll make you like a care package where, I send you the pendants and if you want to, ship them to people and stuff like that. Yeah,
definitely talk about that.
definitely.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, we could put
beautiful.
them on like on, I'll send them to me and then you do what you want with them.
Yeah, let's definitely talk about it. I love
Yeah,
you.
for sure. We should work together because I like the necklaces you make too. And I have to find like necklaces for my pendants anyway. I mean, I usually give like neck free necklace material with it, but it's not high quality. It's like a little leathery, you know.
Mhm. Yeah, and I've got the copper bracelet you gave me right next to my.
Yeah, that one's special.
That was yeah,
That
that is
one's special. That one took a while. That one I had to do welding and stuff on that one.
yeah. Thank you for that.
Yeah,
It's
that
right
was
there,
good.
right next to my bed. Well, thank you so much. I look forward to staying
Anytime.
in touch and
Anytime.
you're the best. You're incredible. You're genius. So
You
anyway,
as well. I'll see you soon. Please
you have a beautiful heart.
let me know when you're available. I know you're really busy, but let me know. I want to have you on my podcast as well.
I love that.
All
Okay.
right.
Sounds
Thank you.
good.
Have a good night.
You too. Bye
Bye.
bye.